What's up, guys? I'm Dimitri with HardwareCanucks here at Silverstone booth, and I am so happy to see more microATX options available in the market, and these guys are coming very soon in 2018. So before we get into that, this strip is sponsored by Fantex, Cooler Master, and Corsair. All right, so what we're looking at here are the new Lucid line, the LD01, the bottom here, and the LD02. So they've done some major changes based on what we saw at Computex, and actually a lot of the feedback that you guys provided to them in the comments was taken into account when designing this. So the LD01 is the more premium out of the two, which has a dual tempered glass side panel, and as you can see, this very beautiful stainless steel corners. They're like those little perimeter around the glass that makes the case really stand out. But it's not just a little frame thing inside. It's actually part of the side panel, so it's not there just for aesthetics. It's actually there for structural purposes too. The tempered glass panel is blacked out. I actually prefer this look, so it's not completely transparent. And if you're going for that elegant approach in the first place, you wouldn't want to be showing off your entire interior. So this type of thing with some interior illumination allows you to basically showcase just the most important components. So the LD01, as you can see at the front, is glass, and the only sort of airflow intake is at the top and the bottom. So you are a little bit compromised on the airflow, but with a focus on building a more beautiful system. So just keep that into account when deciding on how to cool your interior. And as for the LD02, the design structure is a little bit different on the exterior. We might have a tempered glass on the side, but the front panel still has tempered glass with more airflow options, with the ventilation on both sides, with this really unique sort of kind of open frame that is white. I like this. It's a little bit different, so the glass doesn't span the entire panel, and it has that nice kind of industrial design. And so the most important thing about this enclosure is its microATX layout, and it's pretty compact and allows for sort of future expansions if Silverstone decides to go that route, because on both cases we have a 240mm all-in-one support at the front and a 5.25-inch drive bay that on these models is currently not occupied, but potentially we'll see something in the future that will take advantage of that slot. They are dust proof, as you can see. That's removable. Of course, there's a dust filter at the back behind the power supply and a magnetic filter at the top. The I/O fits the 2018 standard with dual USB 3s and a Type-C port that is connected via the USB 19 pin, so the older standard, but you will get Gen 2 speeds from a Gen 2 compatible source if your motherboard supports it. So the interior layout is quite interesting because we have this inverted layout with a power supply shroud at the bottom that underneath houses a drive cage for 3.5-inch drives or SSDs, and we also have the dual SSD caddy at the back. And they're also experimenting with GPU support brackets because the graphics card will be mounted at the top, so it's nice to have a little bit of support. And because the graphics card will be inverted, the GPU support bracket will make contact with the PCB instead. The motherboard is recessed, which helps with cable management, and they will have rubber grommets, so that's awesome. You can move the hard drive cage a little bit further away from the front panel to accommodate the radiator there. The cutouts look okay here, and I'm guessing the only thing that you would need to kind of take into account is the height of your GPU and its proximity to the top panel, because you can install dual 140 or dual 120mm fans, and so just take into account of how close they are to the GPU for that extra airflow. Now, the one thing that they're still unsure about is the branding on the power supply shroud. So we've had a little conversation. None of us like it from the HardwareCanucks crew, but they are discussing on how to make this a little bit more attractive. So let us know what you guys think about this branding and how you'd like to see it changed. And in terms of the price, so we're looking about $70 to $80 for the LD02, so the slightly less fancy version, and then about $100 for the microATX version of the LD01, which is the more premium blackout tempered glass panels, the stainless steel edges. I absolutely love this thing, and I love that they went with a squared approach that makes the cases look so elegant and so 2018. And another interesting case that I didn't think I would get excited about is the CS381. So this is taking a storage approach to the next level, and kind of like the Storinator whole thing where you can build your own NAS, you can build your own server, you can build your own security system device. And so this is the CS381. CS stands for case storage. I might add 381 because you can fit 3.5-inch times 8 and the 1 is because it's the first of its kind. So this is a micro ATX motherboard layout as well, just like the other cases, but we have 8 hot swappable 3.5-inch drives. We have a nice lock up the front. You can also lock the power button so you don't accidentally press it. For example, if you're using it as a NAS, I think that's brilliant. We have dual SSD caddies up top, so probably most likely using that for your OS. In terms of cooling, so we're looking at dual 120mm fans, so you can mount a 240 all-in-one cooler for your motherboard. Of course, there's very little height between the motherboard and these drive enclosures, so that means that you can mount water cooling, which is awesome. We have 4 PCI slots and more room above them for 120mm fans, so you can mount some extra cooling here if you're using like a long RAID card, which you'll probably need to use for the hot swappable drives here. In terms of power, so this case is designed specifically for SFX power supplies only, because if they were to design it with an ATX power supply, it would have been much longer and taller. So this is going for that really compact and space efficient enclosure. So the only sort of space that isn't occupied properly would be in front of the power supply, but you can use that space for cable management, for cables, so they don't have to be like cramped in. And overall, this micro ATX direction looks very promising. And overall, I think it's a very good direction for them to expand their case offerings, because they have an ITX system that can house 8 hot swappable drives, now a micro ATX system, and of course an ATX system as well. So this thing is awesome, the CS381. Let us know if this is something you guys are interested in, and we can obviously check it out later. All right, guys, so that's all for the new cases from Silverstone. Let us know what you think of this layout and the micro ATX direction. I know we've covered ASRock's new micro ATX motherboard, so this is very fitting in terms of Silverstone is listening to the market, and I'm hoping that we see more of these types of cases in the future. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Dmitry with HardwareCanucks, and we'll see you in next CES video.